I think, and Brown, is a big name that far back. But
here we go. Taylor Spivey, there goes the hooter from Michael Thompson, our race director, and Taylor Spivey will have 6 seconds on her own. All the eyes in the triathlon world on Taylor Spivey. Yuko Takahashi now in, Zafiris, Cook, Di Francesco. There is Emma Jeffcoat in the blue. She had the fastest swim in Jersey. Rachel Clammer waiting, now she's in. 5 seconds back to Charlotte McShane, number 24. She's about to head into the water. Jodie Stimpson right behind her. And it's a tough wait watching the rest of the field disappear from you. You can see Sarah Alexander at the back of the field watching as everyone disappears into the distance.
These gaps are actually quite smaller than you think. Because you're swimming, you're not running. They're quite compressed, and you've got a big advantage. Probably at least 10, maybe even 15 metres behind you. You're in that draft zone, and you've got an advantage on the person in front. So that's why we're seeing quite quickly. I'm not sure who that is in second place. I imagine it's probably Zafares or maybe Cook, but swimming through, or it could be Takahashi, but that gap is closed pretty much already. They're within a body length. That person's swimming hard, and this group is together straight away. And Spivey's lead is, I think that is Takahashi there in seconds, swimming quickly up to him. Because Zafira is there just to her right, I think. And it's gone, and this group is effectively together, and her advantage is gone already.
It's actually a nicer swim. It's not so rough around the first swim buoy like we saw yesterday. A lot of the athletes got beaten up, so you get a nice, cleaner run through the swim buoy and you're able to settle in.
Yeah, having said that, though, I mean, if you didn't do that well in a swim time trial and you're on your own, you're effectively in another swim time trial. And the first 900 metres of the Equalizer is a swim time trial for you, and you see your time disappearing more and more, whereas you can't get on the feet. And for those who, I guess, are newer to triathlon, how much of an advantage is there to be on the feet of someone, Ali?
Massive advantage. It's hard to put it in percent because it depends exactly where you are and where the current is, but even a 10% when you're going almost as high as you can is enormous. And we're seeing there's these 7 girls at the front, and whoever's in 8th there, and it's either Clammer or McShane, is in, she's having to swim on her own. She's not quite, probably a bit too far back to get the pull. She's probably still getting some pull, but at the end of the day, Spivey's quite a lot faster swimmer than her, so she might be getting a bit of a pull, but she's certainly not gaining. And then there's 2 more behind them, and these gaps are just increasing. Had this been an even longer swim, I think this race would explode here, and the gaps would end up enormous.
At the moment, there could be some athletes worryingly close to the 90-second bubble at the back of this field, because there's a nice pack working with each other off the back of Taylor Spivey, and then a few individual swimmers behind them, and we'll see when we come out of the water exactly what the time is. But it's a short swim, 300 metres, and we're going to limit the problems there. Who is that?
Rachel, I'm pretty sure it's like Rachel Clammer. I'm not sure, but she's swimming hard. And I don't know, is that 5 or 6 seconds from the back of that pack? A really good fast transition here, and a good first hill on the bike would probably get her on the back. When you get a pack like this, you can always expect it's going to kind of expand on the road, as it were. So it's going to spread out from 1 or 2 seconds between them, maybe up to 10 seconds between them, and that gives some of these girls a chance to just get on the back, and hopefully she'll be able to use that on this first lap of the bike to get herself back in contact.
Good transition from Spivey. She crossed the line first. You can see the clock in back of shot there ticking away. There is Katie Zafira. She always has great transitions. Emma Jeffcoat as well. And Yuko Takahashi, and still people are coming out of the water. Jodie Stimpson, Erin Story coming out of the water. Joanna Brown, who didn't finish to start too far back, but there you go. Rachel Clammer, she was all on her own, and Charlotte McShane's looking for her bike. She got momentarily confused there, so that might cost her a second, which we've seen across the course of Super League can really hurt you in terms of getting on the back of a pack. Jodie Stimpson, Erin Story now running through shot. So the time is ticking, and these gaps will only expand.
Yeah, well, it's hard for us to tell watching it, but you can see from the clock on the side of the course, the field is actually now spread over more like 45 seconds when they started 30 seconds down. So it has actually spread out even more, even though it's kind of hard to work that out in the action. We're seeing slightly different, most of the girls here are sticking their hat and goggles down the front of the tri-suit, so it means they can put it on at the back end of the run on the first time they've done the leg, and Katie Zafira is pushing it on the front where she's been pretty much the whole race, and that is Rachel Clammer chasing hard behind. We can see her there on her own. She has to go all in here and probably use the chute as well.
And Summer Cook's been dropped off the back. I wonder if Rachel Clammer will use the chute now. This is an opportunity to use it to get onto this group.
Here we go. There's the chute there. You can see that the first black turn, and they've all opted against it on the first bike. Cook would have had to think about it to get on the back of this pack, but she's not too far back, and she'll have to bomb it down the hill. Maybe that's what she's thinking, just keep it in hand, but no one's taken it yet.
That's interesting.
Clammer decided against it.
She had the chance there to get on the pack straight away easily, and she's backing herself. Maybe she thinks she's got the legs over this first bike leg to actually ride herself back in and save it.
It's a long race, I guess. It's a long race.
It is, but again, it's easier being in this pack, and then you're in the race rather than chasing, and it's always a bit easier being in the race. She has to get herself past Summer Cook here. Summer Cook is going to go off the back again, I imagine. She's probably even tighter than she was yesterday. Her nerves are even more on edge, and she'll be technically even a bit worse. So Clammer's going to have to get up to Cook, get past her, and then get herself on the back of this group. Just
an update on the timing splits. Both Sarah Alexander and Claudia Seebock started 55 seconds back. So there's a bit of hustle and bustle between Takahashi and Zafiris, and now they're 107 back through the first transition, so they've lost 12 seconds.
It's not as bad as I anticipated. If you work out the 600-metre time trial, they lost a minute, so I was looking at about 30 seconds, so they've actually swum better.
Yeah, a little bit better, but still they're nearing the danger zone, it has to be said, because this front pack are taking no prisoners, and there's a string behind them. But Takahashi now leading the way from Jeff Coates. Zafiris in behind in the pink. That means she's the championship leader. That's what the pink designates. And the green of Kirsten Casper behind. That means she's the fastest on the bike. From Jersey, Di Francesco, the Australian number 94. You can see they're up in the saddle. And Summer Cook has managed, I think, to tack herself on behind this group as they head up Malta Mountain for the second time. Number 2 lap on the bike. Don't forget, this is a 6-leg race. Swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run. 90-second rule only counts when they come through transition, not during a leg, but only at the end of the leg. And they've all decided again on this lap of the bike to keep that joker card, if you like, the super shoot in hand.
And Clammer hasn't taken it again.
I think she's going to get on here.
Yeah.
I think they're slowed up. Cook's back on the back of the group. We saw Takahashi on the front. We didn't see her on the front much yesterday, so it probably means it's a bit slower. We saw Zafiris on the front a lot. She doesn't really need to push it here. I think she knows she can probably beat them in the back half. She needs to keep herself safe, judge the effort. And she doesn't really need to explode the field this early on.
She's on.
Yeah, so they really slowed up in that last lap, and that's allowed Clammer to get back into it.
And she was magnificent yesterday, finishing second overall, so she's in good form. She ran really well yesterday, so it'll be, if she gets onto this group, saves her legs. It's a swim where she's now with the group.
Got that momentum and that confidence, and decided that she could do the job, and it looks like it's working out for her. There's Vincent Louis there just giving instructions to his partner Taylor Spivey. He's our men's championship leader. We'll see him in action a little bit later on in this exact same format. But at the moment, it's a group of 7 with Rachel Clammer looking to close down that gap behind and make it a group of 8, and then pairs of athletes coming through with big gaps.
Those 2 behind, that's Jodie Simpson and Charlotte McShane. They're actually quite a way back now, about 25 seconds, but I think they've actually taken a bit of time out of the group in front. It was more like 40 when they actually set out off on the bike, so this field might be just coming back together a bit here, and maybe this is when Zafiris decides to keep the pace a little bit high, don't let too many people back in the race. She's thinking the less people here, the more likely it is obviously that I'm going to win, and also the safer it is. There's not people going to get in my way, there's no crashes, so that's probably going through her head as well. And you can see the speed up the hill this time is just this little bit more on than it was the time before.
Rachel Clammer's had a huge hill. She's about to get on here. She's come right up the back. I think you're right. I think Katie Zafiris went to the front. She did that a lot yesterday. Drove the pace, but she's on. Rachel Clammer's on.
We know that headwind, though. We had to walk up that hill before. It's very blustery, and the advantage if you can ride up in a pack and get behind someone, especially if you're a small body like Rachel Clammer is big, so I don't know how many matches she's burnt to get into that pack, but there she is now.
Straight around Summer
moving into 7th.
Right around Summer.
She does not want to be on that wheel going down the hill and into the corner. She knows that's an extra 10 seconds of effort that she's going to have to push out, so that's why she went round her at the first opportunity. It has come, we saw there the 2 or 3 girls behind, which was Simpson and McShane, and one of them just looked like she was about to get on the back of those. That's closer than it was the lap before, I think. So if this slows down any more, stays at this pace, you're allowing more people back in the race, which I expect they'll just keep it fast enough to not allow that.
I think Claudia Seebock might be being eliminated if things go as the way they are, and there she is on screen right now. She's all by herself at 1:23 through on that lap of the bike, but Elena Danilova, Sarah Alexander have steadied the ship somewhat at 1:11. Further back in that field, Claire Michelle 53 seconds back, Desiree Ryden at 51 seconds back, and Erin Story is at 39 seconds back. So we'll keep an eye on all of that, and obviously bring you the action if athletes do indeed get eliminated. But this is the front pack of 8.
Simpson McShane 23 seconds back at the end of that lap. Yep. They started this at 22 seconds back, so it's kind of neutral so far. They haven't. I think they probably had a little bit more time coming off the swim, and now they've got a little bit less. But they're just absolutely fighting for survival here.
Yeah, they started this entire race 22 seconds back, so it's interesting how things are steady midfield, but tailing off a little bit at the back, if you like. There is Megan Foley, who had a difficult day out yesterday at 38 seconds back. Joanna Brown, Commonwealth Games bronze medalist at 30 seconds back, and you can see just how tough these formats are when you've got such quality athletes who are finding themselves half a minute back. And that's what I guess, Macca, was inside your mind at the very beginning of all of this.
Well, this format in particular is one I really like because it does give the advantage to those athletes that are usually disadvantaged in triathlon, both the swimmers or the bikers in the two TTs we've had. So it's interesting. Joanna Brown yesterday was magnificent, finishing third, and at 30 seconds back it could affect her whole round position. So it'll be interesting to see if she can pull some time up.
Yeah, I think the top 3 places are going to be a real struggle for Joanna Brown here, unless she can pull out something really special in this run. We know the run's a strength, but she's going to need to pull out, catching 30 seconds.
Here we go. That is the dreaded yellow flag, and Claudia Seebock, unfortunately, has run afoul of it. So she is our first athlete, the 21-year-old Hungarian, to be eliminated and falling 90 seconds back as they come into transition. You can see the feet out of the shoes as they get ready for the first run. And, of course, this is a little bit longer than the usual run laps. We don't have the uphill finish because this is a mid-race run straight back into the swim. So 2 full laps of Malta Mountain and then down the drop through transition twice. Hasn't happened before this weekend.
Some of the girls are putting the bikes in backwards there, which is actually a really sensible thing to do because the next time you're going to see your bike, you want to pull it straight out, not having to lose a bit of time pulling it out backwards and turning it around. So that's some good, sensible racing, and it's one of the things that people are learning for this very new format of racing. What's the best way to do it? Jo Brown has had a good bike leg there. She was behind these two going into it, and she's ridden herself up to them. So she's doing a good job of pulling herself back into this race. But that said, she needs 20 seconds on those front girls in this if she's got any chance of staying in, because she's going to lose some more time on the swim probably.
And she threw a helmet in the box, which makes it difficult come the second time for transition. She's got to take that helmet out of the box, fix it and go. So interesting.
Megan Foley there just watching the seconds tick by. Danny Di Francesco looks like she might be seeing the rubber band snap a little bit for her. She had a great swim, and she is a great swimmer. She's 6 seconds back, but there she is just rounding the bend and watching the top 7 really put the hammer down, and led by Katie Zafiris. It's such a familiar sight. There's your 1-2 from yesterday's racing. Is now 1-2 as we head up Malta Mountain on the run for the first time. All of our top split leaders, and that's why you can see the rainbow of colours are in this group. There's Elena Danilova and Sarah Alexander, who are right on the cusp.
Zafiris is just controlling this. She's got a really kind of easy-looking face there. She's not going too hard, but she's still actually putting the girls behind her in some a bit of stress. Like Clamour's dropping back there. She's right on her shoulder, and there's a few meters now. So she's been able to push the pace and make it hard for these other girls without really hurting herself too much. So it just shows the kind of level she's at and why she won so comfortably yesterday. I mean, she's just so good at this.
She just looks exactly the same from leg 1 to leg 6. We could throw 15 legs at her, and I feel like she'd look exactly the same at the end of that. And we come up to the the super shoot, for the first time during the run leg, and no one has elected to take it, even though there's an advantage that's probably a couple of seconds more because it takes obviously longer to get around the top as a runner, and no one's elected to take it yet. So they're just playing the game and leaving it in the back pocket, maybe for the second of the 2 sprint triathlons. And here is Jodie Stimson and Charlotte McShane.
I think it's absolutely bonkers, maybe, that Joanna Brown hasn't taken a super shoot there. She basically had the chance to get herself back in this race, back to the front, back into the leading pack, and give herself at least a shot of being competitive in the race, and she's decided not to do it. But maybe she's thinking save it to the last leg, but she had a chance of getting herself straight back up to the front.
I'm wondering if they'll use that on the next lap. You got a bit more cumulative fatigue and maybe a little slower. Someone's used it.
So it has started to be used. It hasn't been on our screens, but the super shoot has been used by Jodie Stimson and Charlotte McShane already. And that was out of shot on the bike, as well as Megan Foley, Claire Michelle, Desiree Ryden, Erin Story, Sarah Alexander and Elena Danilova. They've all used them as we followed the front pack around, would have used them on the bike or on the first lap now of the run. I think that's when we've seen it, because it just popped up on our timing screens.
Joanna Brown's used it on that bike. Remember she said we
No, she's the only one.
She hasn't used it.
The only one from the bottom 9 through 17 who hasn't used it.
Wow.
Yeah. So everyone else has seen the panic and used it already. And our top 8, who we've been following, none of them have yet to use the short chute.
I'd expect some of them to use it on this lap now because, if you're Taylor Spivey here or Takahashi, to stay in this race, you want to use it here because it's going to give you that...
Or Jeffcoat.
Yeah, I mean, she should definitely use it as well.
Yep.
The other reason for using it is if you're Rachel Clammer and your swim isn't your strongest and there's just a gap of a few seconds in front of you, you could basically leapfrog this whole group, make sure you get in the water first, and you're making people swim past you in the water rather than scrambling around trying to get the feet. So there's a really good argument to say she should use it now as well if she wants to keep herself in this race.
All right, Danielle Di Francesco has put the brakes on in a big way. She had a great first 10 or so minutes of this racing, but she's dropped down to 11th position behind Joanna Brown, Charlotte Machine and Jodie Stimson, so she's finding the going a little bit tough now. 30 seconds back, 33 you can see there at the bottom of your screen on the right, while the pace is being pushed by Katie Zafiris, Kirsten Casper and Summer Cook, your overall leader, your bike leader from Jersey and your run leader from Jersey.
All Americans.
All Americans, all in the top 5 in our championship standings, and now fighting it out, these three, for the front of this race.
Even though Jodie Stimson and McShane used the short chute, they've actually lost time to the front. So that shows that Zafiris is actually running pretty quick here and putting the other girls under pressure, and that's why this front group is split completely. We're seeing the Erin Story there.
Story there is one of the Americans qualified through Penticton, Elena Danilova and Sarah Alexander. Their races are over. A big lap.
The trio of Americans at the front here, and the trio in the coloured suits, and they're looking pretty comfortable, I'd say. And Clammer's still going hard at the back. It's going to be. Let's see.
Does she take it here?
Does she take it? Yeah, that's.
Fourth up the hill, you can see behind the three Americans, and we're going to wait and see from our drone shot whether she's going to take it, and it doesn't look like she is going to take it.
Not going to take it. No.
What about these two behind? That would be Takahashi and Taylor Spivey.
No.
Nope. No. Oh, no.
Crazy. I suppose they are the fastest two swimmers. They might back themselves to get themselves back on here. For Clammer, it's a bit more of a risk that she's taking because if she was in the front, diving in the water in front of these girls, guaranteed she's going to be on at the end of the swim.
Well, Cook's really put the hammer down there, down the hill. Maybe she wants
that
chance.
I think one lap too late. She had the chance to get herself back in, and she's lost it now.
Yeah. That's around an 8-second advantage at that point in the race in terms of how fast they're running, as Clammer looks to hang on to the back of these three, and already you can see Katie Zafiris, Clammer, and now all of them looking around, this is all new, really. This is new stuff for triathlon, to have to think about putting your goggles and your cap on to waste no time, because very rarely do you come off a run and head into a swim, and that's what testing triathletes is all about, and that's what Super League is all about.
Summer Cook said this morning that yesterday her run on that downhill was very, very average, so it was good to see her move to the front. It's the first time we've seen Katie Zafiris with company at this point in a race, so it makes it very, very interesting.
It looks like to me Casper is actually the best downhill runner there. Every time she moved to the front, Zafiris took it a bit steady. I mean, you might not be going absolutely max down that hill, but if you're good at it, you can actually recover while you're running downhill and run faster than other people. So it's like it's a double positive.
Yeah.
Clammer needs a great transition here to make sure she does it. If she loses any time and there's some clear water in front of her, that could be her struggling in the rest of this race. But if she's quick through it and she gets straight on the feet, and she's really close. So hopefully she looks like she's going to be okay here.
All right, a little bit of a left and right here through and the front of the cafe. Great spot for young and old to watch the second of these two sprint triathlons back-to-back. Rachel Clammer into the water behind the trio of Americans, and the rest coming into transition, popping their shoes off, making it ready for next time through. Jeffcoat being caught there by Stimson and McShane, and Joanna Brown, who's taken the short chute now, as has everyone bar the top 7, is into the water.
Yeah, and Joanna Brown's got a crucial swim there. If she can get herself back in contact with the two girls in front of her, which is Spivey and Takahashi, they're both great swimmers. If she can just have a good first few hundred metres and get on their feet, she's back in the hunt in a way. I think these top 3 or 4 might be away. But we'll see. Katie Zafiris is not leading the swim out. We've seen her lead most of the swim, and there's some clear water back from her there. This clear water back to Rachel Clammer could be crucial for the rest of Clammer's race. We're just waiting until the camera pans out to see how far that clear water is. But if that starts getting 5-10 metres, that's extra time that she's losing.
Di Francesco with the goggles on. She was in the lead pack coming out of the water the first time. She's found the going a little hard as have some of our other athletes. Megan Foley, the third of the other trio of Americans, and Desiree Ryder in the white, as she's one of our young athletes, the Canadian. They fall foul of the yellow flag as well, which has been waving pretty consistently across the course of the first part of this race. So we're losing people left, right and centre. We've got 12 left in this race, and on the bubble now, Claire Michelle and Danielle Di Francesco. Joanna Brown in 10th. Charlotte McShane, we can see in the water there, a little bit back from this trio. Jodie Stimson, Emma Jeffcoat, Taylor Spivey, Yuko Takahashi, Rachel Klammer, and these three.
Klammer's swimming herself back into this, so she's not far off. I think the pace isn't on here. We're seeing that Summer Cook, I think, is the one on the front there, and it doesn't look to me like Zafira is swimming that fast. When we saw her yesterday really pushing it on the front of the swim, fast turnover, big leg kick, high in the water, and none of those are there. So I think she's really happy with this position. The race is splitting up for her, and she's not having to do the work for it. But that said, that is allowing Klammer and probably even Taylor Spivey and Takahashi to get back in this race, because they're not that far behind either. This is rounding the last buoy now. Yeah, they're in the last kind of 100 metres of the swim. And that's definitely Summer Cook leading, and Klammer is back on. These girls are both completely isolated here, and this is a day of just trying to keep themselves in it now.
I think you're right. Joanna Brown should have taken that short shoot one lap earlier on the run. She would have been a lot closer.
Well, there's a psychological effect of being in the race and near the front, isn't there? And I think you probably want to always be competitive and be in the race on the whole, and that would have allowed her to do that. We're seeing Spivey and Takahashi swim right up there, and yeah, Joanna Brown wasn't far off. If she'd literally just had another 3, 4, 5 seconds, she could be in this race now.
Summer Cook.
Yeah, Summer Cook exiting the water first. That's Kirsten Casper and Zafira. Let's see if she's aggressive. You know, we haven't seen her aggressive today yet, I don't think. If she's aggressive on this first lap, it could make a big difference to the race, because I'd say they're all probably relatively close to the red line now, if not over it, and Zafira is probably the one who's furthest away from it. She didn't look like she had to exert herself too much on that swim.
And this is Rachel Klammer's most important transition of the weekend.
Well, we've said that a few times already, but every preceding one gets even more important, I think. There's Simpson and Jeffcoat coming out now. They're fighting. I think it's going to be hard for them to get back in this race unless it slows down. And this is Joanna Brown. You know, if she can have a great first couple of laps on the bike, you know, maybe she can get herself back in it. But I think it's a big struggle. So she had to take her bike out backwards there, which maybe cost her a couple of seconds. If she'd put it in backwards, who knows? She might have just got it out that bit faster and might be going already. They've got to get their shoes on now from the kind of the non. Flat position. That's really hard, because as you kind of get on it, your shoes are spinning round, and it's really hard to get your feet planted flat on your shoes and then get your feet in your shoes.
All right.
See Summer Cook on the front of the bike here, pushing it on her. We keep seeing that when she's actually on a straight upper road, she's strong. She's a strong bike rider. She just doesn't like going around corners.
There is our leading trio, and important to understand that this is multi-day racing. 50 total round points on offer. Katie Zafiris took the top 25 yesterday, and next to her is two people who are not anywhere near her on the points, in terms of Casper on 10 points and Cook on 8 points from yesterday's racing. So she can finish third at this point, Katie Zafiris, and she still will win the $20,000 US. She still will win the round.
Claire Michelle out there. I was going to say I thought she was very close to the time limit there, if not over it.
Yeah.
No, didn't take it. I thought Rachel Klammer might have grabbed the short shoot then and got on the back of them. But it would be difficult coming into the run.
They're all playing the long game here, aren't they? They're going, actually, we're playing the long game, and we're going to back ourselves to get ourselves into it. And if we take it early, we're basically at an advantage going into that last leg. Slightly risky tactic, but I guess, it's kind of going all in for the last leg, which is what we've seen happen a lot so far. It's going to be, maybe Zafiris might be a bit more aggressive on these laps now. This is getting really to the business end of the leg, and Spivey there is on her own now. So does that mean Takahashi has managed to pull away from her as she chases hard to get back in touch with this trio in front?
All right, Katie Zafiris, Summer Cook, and Kirsten Casper, the Americans.
Zafira's moving to the front there, so this might be, and Simpson and Jeffcoat, they are in a battle of survival now as well, I think.
Jeffcoat has not taken the short shoot, but Simpson has, so that might make a little bit of a difference in terms of the minor placings.
Probably a good time to take it.
Yeah, it's a good time to take it now, but Katie Zafiris can finish anywhere in the top 3 and still win this round, and that is important to continue to remember because $20,000 is on the line for the round winner. She took maximum points yesterday. She could finish 3rd and still have more points than both Kirsten Casper and Summer Cook, no matter what order they finish in. So
I think Joanna Brown's moving up well here. We saw on the last lap that Spivey was on her own, and we saw there's 2 together. And if those 2 are Takahashi and Brown, that means that Brown has moved up. We can't see back, but yeah, that means she's moving up the field, and she rides well. We saw on that first leg she rode well. She did really well to keep herself in and compete well yesterday. So yeah, she might be moving through the field for when she needs it. Yeah.
All right, no super shoot taken from our top 3. Joanna Brown's the only one that we're talking about here, along with Stimson, who has already taken the super shoot.
It's Clammer, sorry. Yeah, so it's Clammer of Takahashi.
Yeah. I think Summer Cook looks more comfortable with 3 as opposed to the big group. She's staying a lot closer. She seems to get around the corners a lot better. She seems to be not so, what did you say yesterday? Unhappy on the bike. Is she
comfortable?
Yeah, she's way better through this bottom turn.
Yeah, she hasn't actually lost even a bike length of room around that corner, to be fair. But again, I mean, you can see the fact she's tense on a bike and she's relatively strong. If she could sort that out, she should be so much more competitive in this race.
The men warming up not too long now until the men's equalizer gets underway, and that will be an absolute battle royale. But we're still focused on these trio of Americans at the front who just continue to extend the lead and cause some eliminations further back down the pack. And Danielle DiFrancesco is right on the cusp, and we'll see what happens here the next time they come through transition. We might be down to a race in 10. Casper, Zafiris and Cook, and then a gap of around 10 seconds, 9 seconds there to Clammer Takahashi, further back to Taylor Spivey, 13 seconds behind, and she's the latest through transition. Joe Brown, 10 further seconds back.
This hasn't gone out in this bike leg, though. It hasn't expanded, and actually, if anything, those girls at the back, like Jodie Simpson, might have, see, only 32 seconds. Yeah. They've got some time on the front. So that shows us that Zafiris isn't riding hard. Is that because she's a bit tired from yesterday, or is she just judging that effort and she knows she's got the measure of these girls on the run,
she knows she's got it in the bag overall if she just takes the 2 of them with her.
But it's not the absolute domination we were potentially talking about to start with. We thought by this stage she could almost certainly be completely on her own, and it was all a Katie Zafiris race. But yeah, we all
talked about it, didn't we? At what point is Katie Zafiris going to be on her own in this race? And I think I was about 3 legs ago.
Mm-hmm. And there's 9 girls still in it over a split of 30 seconds. Oh no, Charlotte Michelle in 10th. So it's not been an absolute massive elimination like it could have been with only 4 or 5 girls potentially left. And I don't know if that is a tactic of the Zafiris or because she's taking it a bit easy. That's Taylor Spivey there on her own. I don't know where she got distance from Takahashi, but this is the last lap now. So.
All right, they head through and off the bike, and that just leaves the run left in this 6-leg enduro, the last time into transition. And there is, at the top of the course, Jeffcoat and Stimson, so they are 35 odd seconds back. And as you say, though, McShane 52 and DiFrancesco still in it at 122, but there are 30 seconds or 33 seconds covering 9 athletes.
Oh no, this isn't the last lap.
Yeah,
sorry,
one to go.
Yes.
Yep, correct.
Cook taking a drink there. It's not a really long race, but it's a long enough race that you probably want to think you're having a bit of nutrition and a bit of water involved. It's also quite humid and muggy. It might not look that warm, but it's quite humid out there, so you probably want to just have a little bit of water involved on board. And this has come back together.
Yeah, back together.
That shows that they haven't been pushing that hard, and right from 1 to 6, and so that's Casper back to Taylor Spivey at the moment. They're all here. Clammer's riding hard there just to close it on this hill. She's had to do a bit of chasing in this race, and she's pulling herself back on it. She knows if she can get on here, she is.
It looks like she is on, and all 6 of those athletes you can see on your screen still have the super shoot in hand. So maybe it's paying off a little bit for Rachel Clammer. She wouldn't want to be the only one in this group to have taken it. And we'll see if they take it on the bike. I'll be surprised if they do. They'll all keep it in hand for the last lap of the run, perhaps.
Yeah, but what's this cost for her? You can see on her face there she has had to max out up this hill. And, once you go over that red line in this racing, it can be really hard to recover. So, she might be there and she might have got herself back in the race now, but she might also be completely
Who can run
gassed.
this one home? I mean, we saw how good her run was yesterday. I mean, she does have something left in the tank. Who else would you pick out here as being a superior runner?
Summer Cook's a magnificent runner. She's in the red runners jersey. And Casper's a great runner.
I think Takahashi, we don't see a lot of her on the run, so she and Spivey, I think, but the other four are actually pretty much up with the four best runners in the sport.
Clemmer yesterday was the fastest runner up the climb. She ran herself into second place after Katie, so it'll be interesting now with the short shoot. Does someone save it for the last lap? Does someone take it on the first loop? So
in fact, they're only going up one. There's only one opportunity.
Yeah,
they're going to finish at the top of the hill,
they're
so they're all going to take it together.
So I hope they take it on the first lap.
So if they don't, there's going to be problems.
Good point.
All right, it's a race in 6. Good transitions, it looked like, from everybody. And Kirsten Casper had a superior transition to Katie Zafiris.
Summer Cook lost herself a few seconds there through transition, as did Zafiris. I think that was just slow. This is Jo Brown. She spent the whole race chasing as well, as is Jodie Simpson. These girls are just want to get round this now and not lose 90 seconds. I think, you can see Cook is actually running well. She's close
really well.
straight up to them and is on the shoulders of Zafiris there. So I think she might be on to a good one here. I think. Clammer's running well, but she's
been sitting in that position the whole time.
5 seconds back, and I just get a feeling she might have gone hard on that bike here. It'd be great to see her run. Great performance yesterday on the last lap of that run on the last race, but I think that biking and I think chasing the whole race might just take its toll for her.
Okay, it's been these three up the front, and the next three pretty much for the whole race. They closed up on the last lap of the bike, but these Americans have responded. There's Jo Brown. You can see the distance as the others have already disappeared most of the way up that hill. And Katie Zafiris is doing what she does best and just staying composed and waiting out to see who's going to make a move on this hill. Beautiful shots from the drone. There's a 6% gradient on that hill. It doesn't do it justice, and it's about 275 metres. And Danielle Di Francesco, excellent effort from her. She'll finish in 10th position overall. She nearly made it into the run. Charlotte McShane is the next back at 101, but we don't need to worry about eliminations anymore. Just one more lap of this race course.
And one more climb.
And we didn't see this yesterday, and actually Zafiris involved in a tight race for the race, so this is going to be good on the last lap. We didn't see the downhill here is really going to matter, so it's going to be great to see who takes it on. They're all going for the super shoot, obviously, at this point, which shows, great. It's good that they're all still thinking clearly, and I think, Clammer is out of it. You can see
she's really punching.
She hasn't got up that hill anywhere near as well. Yeah, Summer Cook there she is. She said she was good at downhill, and she's opening up that stride and got the longer, whereas the girls with the shorter stride, Zafiris and Casper, just aren't opening up and going as fast down the hill. And I know she's coming now, but there's quite a lot of running left from this bottom corner. You've got that bit on the flat, probably the best part of 500 metres before the last 300 metres on the hill. 100 metres of which is pretty flat before it really ramps up for the last few hundred metres. So
this will be a hard one to pick. Kirsten Casper looks really comfortable, and Summer Cook's our best runner outside of Katie. We've never been in this position where three with 500 metres left to run.
Exciting times for Rachel Clammer. It looks like she's dropped Yuko Takahashi and Taylor Spivey down that hill, and she did have a great run yesterday, but it's all about these three, the green, the red and the pink, all Americans and all fighting for the win overall. If Katie Zafiris can stay in that top three, she's going to be your championship leader and the round winner. Rachel Clammer with a gap now back to Yuko Takahashi and Taylor Spivey. But these three have been dominant through this Equalizer.
Who's got the sprint here? That's the
question.
Uphill sprint.
I think Zafiris is going pretty much as hard as she can here. Actually, she probably doesn't want to leave it to a sprint, and I think Summer Cook has got some real running pedigree, so she knows that. I think she's probably in a bit of a nervous position as Zafiris. I think it's going to be a big punch out this first corner, and with 300 metres up the hill, it's easier to get your legs and your turnover moving a bit on the flat a bit, which is the first 100 metres out the corner. So I expect to see someone, probably all of them going as hard as they can. If someone gets the gap on that, they might just stay away. But
Katie's having a go now. Katie's running a long way out.
She's running as hard as she can, and she's putting Kirsten Casper under a bit of pressure there, but it's still tight. There's nothing between them here, and it's impossible to call.
I think if Rachel Clammer stays in fourth position, she's going to pick up second overall. But let's pick up the last climb up the hill, 275 metres, and it's a race in three. All Americans.
Summer Cook looks great.
Katie Zafiris Yeah, she's seeing Summer Cook just hang off her hip, and Kirsten Casper's been dropped back about 4 metres or so.
Zephyrus.
And here goes Zephyrus kicking.
Yeah, she's kicking hard, and she's just got the strength. This is the steepest part of the hill here, and she's got the strength to pull away, and she doesn't look like she's moving that fast, but she just moves so efficiently, and she's so strong.
And she looks like she's going to take a perfect 50 championship points. She is sprinting away home. Katie Zephyrus has done it once again. She was pushed all the way by the Americans. Katie Zephyrus has given everything. Kirsten Casper comes home and does the job, and you can see the fallen soldiers. Summer Cook comes in 3rd position. Rachel Clammer, I think, will take 4th, but again, pushed all the way. Katie Zephyrus is your Equalizer champion, just as she won yesterday. Rachel Clammer comes up in 4th, and you can see that there is nothing left in the tank, and that is what Super League is all about.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official medal ceremony for Day 2, Equalizer, Malta 2018 Super League, and we'd like to welcome Alison Zafera, Mayor of Woomera, as our official presenter for the medals. In the bronze medal position from the United States of America, Summer Cook. Our silver medalist, USA, Christian Casper. Gold medalist and race winner for Super League Malta Day 2 Equalizer from the United States of America, Katie Zephyrus. Malta, put your hands together for your Super League Day 2 champions.